I'm Miss Bulla, and today we are looking at macromolecules, the building blocks of life. What you will learn: why all living things are carbon-based, the 3 types of carbon structures, and the 4 macromolecules that make up all living things. Why do we need to learn about carbon? And why am I showing you this pizza? By now, you may have made the connection that the food that we eat, like this pizza, is made of the molecules of living things. It is not only delicious, but these molecules are your body's building blocks. All living things are made of carbon-based molecules. I am using this model of methane gas, the gas released when our food breaks down, because it is easy to see the bonds between the carbon and the hydrogens. But why carbon? What makes it so special? How many bonds do you see coming off of the middle of the atom? Let's count the bonds. Each bond is represented by a stick coming off of the yellow sphere. 1. The yellow sphere is carbon, and the blue spheres are hydrogens. The molecular formula for methane is CH4. That's 1 carbon and 4 hydrogens. 2, 3, 4. So why is the fact that carbon can make 4 bonds important? Think of each of those bonds as links in a chain fence. What happens if a fence is missing some of those links? Is it weakened? Of course. So, that's why carbon is so strong, because of those 4 bonds. The fact that carbon can bond 4 times makes it a very useful atom. Nature is really smart. There are 3 basic types of carbon structures. Number 1, a straight chain. You can see the carbons that are lined up in a row and all of the hydrogens that are attached to those carbons. Number 2, a branched chain. So at the bottom of the structure is the straight chain, and then you can see the carbon that's coming off of the second carbon, and that is the branch, like the branches of a tree. A lot of macromolecules have several branches coming off of them. The third one is a ring structure. You can see on the left the hydrogens coming off of all of those carbons in that ring. Well, on the right is the same structure, just written in a different way. It's a little neater without all of the hydrogen showing. It's just assumed that if carbon is at each corner, it's going to have hydrogens coming off of it. As I said before, food is made from living things, correct? There are 4 categories of molecules that make up food. We call these macromolecules. Macro means big. Macromolecules are really big molecules that make up all living things. Our food comes from living things. Our body is made by eating living things. Now that you've seen how the molecules of life can form, let's look at the 4 types of macromolecules. Number 1, carbohydrates, also known as carbs. Now, carbohydrates are typically well known as starches. But as you see here, that includes pastas and bread and grains like oatmeal. But carbohydrates are made from simple sugars, and that's what you see here is table sugar. Number 2, lipids and fats. In this picture, we see butter. Now, we always typically think of butter as a fat, But lipids also include oils. In this picture, we can see the oils from vegetables and nuts, and I believe you're looking at some almond butter on the right. Typically, we think of oils and fats and lipids as not being healthy for us, but actually, we need some, and avocados and eggs are a great source. Number 3, protein. In this picture, we see all kinds of protein from different animal sources such as fish and beef and chicken, but also from dairy products like cheeses and eggs. But protein doesn't just come from animals. It also can be found in legumes and nuts and dark leafy vegetables. And right there in the middle is tofu, which comes from beans. Number 4, nucleic acid. Now, when we think of nucleic acid, we don't typically think of food because nucleic acid is actually our DNA and our RNA. So everything that you eat contains nucleic acid because inside of the cell of every living thing is the DNA. So this concludes our lesson. Today we learned why all living things are carbon-based, the 3 types of carbon structures, and the 4 macromolecules that make up all living things. Thank you for joining us, and this has been Biology Made Easy.